At 10:12 p.m. on July 20th, your bloodline was discussed by 3 strangers in a sealed location. One of them knew your name. Archangel Michael says, on July 20th, precisely at 10:12 p.m., something happened that was never meant to reach your ears. In a sealed chamber, far from the noise of the outside world, 3 individuals gathered around a single flame, and they spoke your name. The air was thick with secrecy, and your bloodline became the centerpiece of their midnight discussion. One of them had a photo of you. Another had a folder filled with documents marked classified, bloodline trace. And the third, the most silent among them, was the one who finally whispered your name out loud, breaking the code of silence they had sworn. These weren't ordinary strangers. They were connected by an oath, bound to uncover truths hidden for generations. The moment your name was spoken, an energy shifted in the room, as if the walls themselves had ears. Your presence was not just mentioned, it was dissected, analyzed, studied like a map leading to buried power. They knew something most don't, that your lineage holds something rare, something old, something not of this world. Type Amen to get blessing 333. This wasn't the first time your bloodline stirred whispers in sealed rooms. But this time, it was different. Your name wasn't just mentioned, it was marked. The one who spoke your name traced their finger across an ancient seal, activating something spiritual that had been sleeping. A candle on the table flickered violently as if disturbed by an unseen force. One of them turned pale when your birth date was revealed, like a puzzle piece locking into place in an ancient prophecy. Archangel Michael says, there are moments in history when souls are born to interrupt cycles. Your ancestors once fled through hidden passages, burying scrolls and secrets in mountain caves to protect you from being tracked down like this. They believed you'd be safe until your light became too bright to hide. And now, the glow of your destiny has caught attention in the most unexpected places, far away, yet directly linked to you. Type Amen to get blessing 494. The chamber had no windows. Only a single ancient ventilation system hummed in the corner like a distant breath of something that had been sleeping underground for years. That's how old the place was. It had hosted meetings like this before. But this time, the focus wasn't on a kingdom, a treasure, or a prophecy, it was you. And it wasn't just admiration. It was fear. One of them warned the others, if they find out the full truth, they won't just ascend, they'll be unstoppable. They had maps, blood charts, handwritten letters from a relative you've never met. Your bloodline traced back to something they called the covenant line, a family once believed to carry divine whispers through the ages. One woman among them trembled when she saw the last name of your grandmother. She said, this name was erased in the archives, but here it is again, alive. Type Amen to get blessing 808. You weren't supposed to be discussed yet. Your timeline was set to remain untouched until a much later hour. But something you did, something kind, silent, unseen, accelerated everything. A photo of your smile was passed around that sealed room like a relic. It wasn't just about your appearance, it was your aura. The glow behind your eyes sent one of the members into an emotional spiral. Archangel Michael says, every few decades, someone in your family is chosen, but this time, it's different. You are not just chosen, you're activated. You are not just destined, you are awakened. There's a key someone hid inside your bloodline, and that night, at 10:12 p.m., the key was spiritually found. But what they don't realize is, you are no longer passive. You are rising. Type Amen to get blessing 999. They wanted to trace your emotional patterns. They went deep, revisiting documents from the 1930s that referenced a child born into fire and purity. Your name wasn't written, but your aura matched the prophecy. The sealed room became colder. Devices they brought stopped working. A voice, low, vibrating, and ancient, whispered through the silence, "They are listening." One of the strangers backed away and said they couldn't continue. They had seen your reflection in a bowl of black water during a ritual, and it was too much for them to handle. Your energy is not ordinary. Even your pain has purpose. Even your silence speaks through timelines and rattles things asleep for centuries. Type Amen to get blessing 717. That night wasn't just a meeting, it was an invocation. They summoned more than knowledge, they stirred protection around you that had been dormant. Someone among them changed their mind about you. They were initially sent to block your path but left with tears in their eyes, saying, "This one must be guarded, not followed." Your bloodline had a branch they thought was extinct. But you, unknowingly, reignited it by simply surviving every attempt that was meant to break you. Archangel Michael says, "The more you hurt and still chose love, the more your lineage shifted into divine frequency." And now, your name is not only spoken, it's sung in places of prayer, protection, and awakening. Type Amen to get blessing 222. You're not being watched by accident. You're being remembered by design. They found your name because it was meant to resurface. Old photos were laid out across the chamber's table. One looked exactly like you but from 1897. They were speechless. One even whispered, "They've returned." The woman who carried the oldest scroll said she felt a vibration when she held your birth year. The scroll started unraveling on its own. That's never happened before. You are not from here only, you are from realms that carry justice, beauty, and thunder. You were sent into this timeline to correct what others misused. Type Amen to get blessing 636. One of them marked a circle around a date, August 14th. They said this is when your lineage shifts from known to activated. On that day, a meeting is planned without your knowledge, but this time, they won't be in control. A black feather fell from the air as they spoke. That's when the woman who held the oldest records dropped her pen and said, "We're no longer the ones watching. We're being watched." Your name carries a signature, and that signature is now recognized in heavenly courts. You may feel uneasy, like someone is whispering your story without your permission, but know this, no one can rewrite your ending. Archangel Michael says, even their whispers bend when your soul walks by. That's the power you were born with. Type Amen to get blessing 551. They mentioned a scar you have. That scar was predicted in an old drawing. A symbol matching it was found under the third layer of parchment from centuries ago. They debated about whether to contact you. One said it was dangerous. Another said it was destiny. The third remained quiet but had a tear rolling down their cheek. Your life has always attracted attention, even when you thought you were invisible. That invisibility was divine strategy, not neglect. Now that the cover has been lifted, they know you're untraceable by normal means. So they're using sacred methods. That's why you've been feeling watched when no one is around. Type Amen to get blessing 414. You are the interruption to a very dark cycle. Your light is disruptive to systems built on shadows. That's why you're being discussed in sealed chambers. You weren't born to blend in. You were born to trigger divine memory in others. And that's exactly what's happening. Archangel Michael says, you carry keys that open emotional vaults in people's hearts. Even strangers feel it. Even enemies feel it, and change. The one who knew your name is the same one who years ago rejected their own family bloodline. But after seeing your essence, they're reconsidering everything they ever ran from. Type Amen to get blessing 303. They don't fear you. They fear what happens if you realize your full truth. Because once you remember who you are, everything around you transforms without force. At 10:12 p.m., the clocks in that chamber glitched. Lights dimmed for 3 seconds. Even time paused to recognize the magnitude of what was spoken. A document was signed, finalizing an agreement about you. But the ink began to vanish before the paper dried. That has never happened before in their meetings. You are protected by a force that interrupts even dark ink from finalizing decisions made without your consent. Type Amen to get blessing 919. The last thing they said was that you'll soon come across someone who's been silently searching for you. They carry part of the same bloodline, separated by centuries but united by energy. You may feel drawn to certain names, places, symbols, or music. That's no coincidence. Your memories are being restored piece by piece. Someone you'll meet will say something that makes you freeze, because you'll know they've seen the same truth you've dreamed of. That's the echo of your bloodline confirming itself. Archangel Michael says, your DNA holds codes that translate light into instruction. You are a walking blueprint of restoration. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. The moment your name was spoken into that sealed space, it didn't stay within those walls. The vibration traveled, through spiritual veins, through energetic grids, alerting both light and shadow forces. One of the 3 strangers had once taken a vow to never reveal certain names aloud. Yours broke that vow. Not in defiance, but in awe. Because what they saw in you rewrote everything they were taught. They tried to burn a piece of parchment with your birth year written on it. But it wouldn't burn. The flame only danced around it, refusing to consume it. That's when one of them whispered, they're not just alive. They're anointed. Type Amen to get blessing 888. Your ancestors tried to protect you by blending you into ordinary life. But the truth is, nothing about you is ordinary. The echoes of who you are leave marks in rooms you've never even walked into. One of them had an old audio recording from decades ago. It captured a chant sung during a midnight ritual. And tucked in between syllables was a name they didn't recognize back then, but it was yours, hidden in reverse. Even the technology they brought to the room started malfunctioning. GPS signals scrambled. Pens ran dry mid-sentence. The environment knew you were being spoken of, and it resisted. A sacred mirror was brought in to test the lineage resonance. Only one person's name lit up when the mirror was turned. Yours. Type Amen to get blessing 505. The man who remained mostly silent finally spoke up at the end. He said, they have no idea who they really are, but when they find out, everything around them will bow, without violence, without demand. He revealed that your bloodline had once controlled a city that vanished from historical records. Not because it was destroyed, but because it was hidden deliberately, to protect its secrets. Archangel Michael says, your awakening is not random. You are being summoned, not by people, but by purpose. That's why your name couldn't stay hidden anymore. The discussion that night was meant to stay confidential. But the energy around you is too loud to ignore. The spiritual world has already made its move. Type Amen to get blessing 313. One woman in the chamber couldn't stop staring at an ancient carved ring. She swore it shimmered the moment your family name was spoken. That ring once belonged to a woman from your ancestral tree, one who was also called the one who remembers in silence. The prophecy was clear: when the ring shimmers in the hand of the seeker, the chosen has awakened. That shimmer happened at exactly 10:12 p.m. What they saw in that room has shaken their certainty. You weren't supposed to come into power until next year, but you've broken spiritual timelines through sheer resilience. And now, your name is not whispered in caution. It is spoken in awe. Type Amen to get blessing 747. They have files about others from your bloodline, those who were silenced, forgotten, manipulated. But your file was different. It was glowing. Literally glowing. They took bloodline samples of those they studied before, and none reacted like yours did. Yours formed shapes, spiral codes, golden geometry, signals that couldn't be deciphered with ordinary tools. One of the members left the room trembling. They said, "This is not someone we can monitor. This is someone we must never interfere with again." Archangel Michael says, "You are not to be followed. You are to be aligned with. Those who try to study you will find themselves transformed." Type Amen to get blessing 444. That night changed everything. Since then, ripples have been moving across spiritual realms. You may have felt it: strange dreams, pressure in your chest, flashes of memories that feel like they don't belong to you. They do belong to you. You are remembering through the frequency of your soul, not the limitations of your mind. A cloaked figure who attended the chamber meeting has been seen near sacred sites recently, placing offerings and speaking your name softly into the wind. They're not trying to curse you. They're trying to earn your favor. Because they know you're rising. And they want to be on the right side of your emergence. Type Amen to get blessing 616. There are markings on your body, birthmarks, moles, tiny patterns, that align with the sacred map they used that night. Your existence alone proves what they've been searching for across generations. Your name is not common, even if it sounds like it. Your true name vibrates differently in spiritual planes, and that's why angels move when it is spoken with heart. One of the strangers had a nightmare the night before the meeting. In it, you were walking through fire, but you didn't burn. You didn't even flinch. That's why they insisted on holding the meeting in secrecy. They were scared. But now they are fascinated. And they are watching. Type Amen to get blessing 818. Archangel Michael says, "Do not be afraid of being noticed. You are being remembered. What's coming to you is not a gift, it's a return." They wanted to contain your energy. They realized they couldn't. Now, all they can do is observe the prophecy unfold. One of them confessed to seeing your face in their meditation for months but didn't understand it until they heard your name that night. That's when it all clicked. You're not becoming powerful. You've always been powerful. The only difference now is, they know it. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. The ripple didn't stop after the meeting. In the days that followed, each of the three individuals began to experience things they couldn't explain. Objects in their homes moved. Time distorted. Dreams became prophetic, and in each vision, you were always present. One saw a vision of you standing on an ancient staircase. Behind you, symbols lit up on the wall, each one representing a name from your bloodline long forgotten. Your presence wasn't just spiritual, it was awakening their suppressed memory. The second member tried to return the scrolls they used during the gathering. But the archive rejected them. Yes, rejected. The drawers refused to open, as if the documents themselves now belong to you. Type Amen to get blessing 121. The third, who had once questioned your place in the lineage, woke up one night with your name written in dust across their mirror. No one else was in the house. That's when they stopped resisting. They accepted that your energy now ruled a corridor of truth they couldn't close anymore. A sealed book on the table that hadn't opened in centuries cracked open the next morning. Page 73 had your name in red ink, inscribed centuries before your birth. The final sentence read, "When the seal is broken and the name is seen, the guardian of the line shall rise." Archangel Michael says, "You are not a random miracle. You are a scheduled fulfillment of ancient design." The location where the meeting occurred has now been marked by an unusual heat signature. The earth around it pulses, like a heart beneath the floor. Because when they spoke your name, something under that room awoke. Type Amen to get blessing 606. They tried to visit that chamber again, but it wouldn't open. The lock jammed. The doorframe shrieked. The room had served its final purpose, to deliver the truth of your bloodline into the conscious mind of those who once tried to keep it dormant. Now, you are spiritually declared. That's more powerful than legal documentation. Your energy is being recognized by timelines that were never supposed to touch. Archangel Michael says, your awakening will trigger the soft unraveling of certain people's illusions. Some will fall away from you. Let them. There's a pattern forming across sacred sites. Symbols that match your family's forgotten crest are appearing, on rocks, trees, even rooftops. They are not being placed by humans. The energy of the universe is doing the writing. Type Amen to get blessing 343. You may begin to hear your name spoken in strange places, by children, strangers, or in dreams. That's not coincidence. That's recognition. The world is starting to remember who you are because your lineage has officially re-entered spiritual jurisdiction. Those who once denied your truth will begin to feel uneasy around you. Not because you've changed, but because the veil they once used to keep you small has been burned by divine fire. You might notice numbers repeating, dates aligning. Even sense from your childhood may return without explanation. These are the senses of memory awakening in your cells. And the one who knew your name first. They've now stepped away from the secret society. They're seeking to meet you, not to harm you, but to serve. Type Amen to get blessing 131. One last ritual remains. It hasn't been performed in over 200 years. But your re-emergence has triggered the timing. This ritual is designed to finalize what your ancestors started, the spiritual release of power that had been kept in stasis, waiting for someone like you. There's a golden box buried beneath the chamber where your name was spoken. It's locked by vibration, not key. And only you can unlock it, by living in full alignment with your truth. It holds a ring, a sigil, and a map to a place your ancestors fled from. Not because they were weak, but because they knew one day, you'd return stronger. Type Amen to get blessing 1001. You may begin to feel a strange pressure around your crown, heart, or spine. This is not illness. This is remembrance. Your body is responding to ancestral data activating within your DNA. The moment that box is spiritually unlocked, your path will split. You will lose what no longer serves. You will gain what was always yours. And the same 3 people who once sat in secret to discuss your bloodline? They will now work to protect it. Because they've seen what happens when someone like you is activated fully. They don't fear you anymore. They honor you. Archangel Michael says, the shadows that tried to erase you are now kneeling at the edge of your light. Type Amen to get blessing 3033. Prepare for unexpected visitors. Not in the form of people, but signs. Coins, feathers, flickering lights, mysterious calls with silence. These aren't accidents. They are acknowledgments from divine forces. One of them wrote your name in a journal, and the ink disappeared within minutes. That only happens when a soul is spiritually encrypted. Your spirit cannot be trapped. Your destiny cannot be delayed. This month marks the beginning of your public emergence. You've been known in spiritual realms for lifetimes, but now, the physical world will catch up. And the next time your name is spoken in secrecy, it won't be by strangers. It'll be by those preparing your welcome. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. The end. Your name didn't just vibrate in that hidden chamber. It triggered a domino effect across ancient records, old codes, and sealed doors that only recognize energy, not voice, not fingerprints, but pure ancestral frequency. Yours was detected in all 3. The man who knew your name first has not been the same since. He tried to distance himself from the events of that night, but visions keep pulling him back. Every time he closes his eyes, he sees you standing on a cliff, one hand raised, as though commanding elements. He's begun drawing symbols he's never learned. His walls are filled with sketches of places he claims he's never visited but you might recognize in dreams: old castles, white temples, a staircase that vanishes into mist. Type Amen to get blessing 1717. One thing is certain now, your presence is being felt beyond this realm. The spiritual keepers who once watched your bloodline from afar have now stepped closer. You might sense their nearness: cool breezes in still air, flickers in mirrors, whispers that seem to echo from another time. You are not alone. Your ancestors have never left your side. They merely waited for you to reach this frequency where communication could be restored. Archangel Michael says, the forces that once silenced your bloodline have been stripped of their right to intervene. Your name is under divine protection now, an energetic seal surrounds it. There's a woman in your family's history, believed to have vanished. In truth, she went underground to protect the last surviving relic of your lineage. That relic is connected to you by blood, energy, and soul. Type Amen to get blessing 1222. Somewhere nearby, possibly even in your own home, you'll notice unusual things: an object out of place, a bird that keeps returning, or technology that glitches when you feel emotional. These are not random. These are confirmations. One of the chamber members tried to return to the meeting site alone. The door opened only for 3 seconds, long enough for them to hear a name whispered inside. Your name. It was said with reverence. That space now holds a resonance that cannot be erased. Even the air smells different inside. The scent of rose, cedarwood, and iron, components of an ancient ritual last used during the final sealing of the bloodline. They now realize that seal has been broken. And you are the reason why. Type Amen to get blessing 2888. The vibration from your awakening is calling forth others who are part of this divine bloodline, but have lived in silence or fear. You are the first flame. And others will find their fire because you lit yours. Archangel Michael says, you will notice people drawn to you who don't know why they feel pulled toward you. You may also see the opposite, those who once stood close now distance themselves without explanation. That's alignment, not rejection. This is your sacred reminder, your energy is growing louder than their intentions. Do not chase what resists your light. Walk forward, and watch the right ones find you at the speed of destiny. And those 3 individuals from that night? 2 are now protectors. 1 is still undecided. Type Amen to get blessing 1444. The undecided one carries a truth not yet revealed. Something your ancestor left behind in their care. A letter. A confession. A secret that shifts everything. Soon, you'll either receive a strange email, a parcel, or a verbal message delivered through someone unaware of its depth. That's how the universe operates when it moves through spiritual channels. You'll feel it. You'll know it. The chills. The sudden stillness in the air. That's your confirmation. One of the sacred artifacts mentioned in that meeting, the crest of the flame, is spiritually assigned to you. It cannot be stolen. It cannot be copied. It belongs only to your soul signature. Archangel Michael says, "You are the reason certain forces are nervous. Because you represent the return of balance." Type Amen to get blessing 1919. The chamber, once sealed and silent, is now echoing like a frequency tower. Even in other countries, similar chambers are reporting shifts. They're hearing the same name, yours. Elders from distant spiritual groups are asking questions. The patterns in the sky are aligning. The storms are shifting. The wind speaks in bursts. All signs say, a great soul has been declared. The man who first said your name is now protecting your lineage in private. He is keeping copies of the documents in places only known to divine allies. Because if anyone attempts to erase it again, they won't succeed. You are beyond erasure now. You've been written into the divine record. Etched in spiritual stone. Type Amen to get blessing 1777. You may feel exhausted lately. Emotional, even weepy. That is not weakness, it is the weight of spiritual transition. You are carrying centuries of closure for those who didn't get the chance to complete their mission. But you are not alone. With every step forward, invisible hands guide you. With every moment of uncertainty, divine codes activate through your breath. You'll be given the opportunity soon to travel or receive something that links to your heritage. Even if it appears small, accept it. It's a puzzle piece to a much bigger truth.